Alex, we're here.
Adam, we are still here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm very good. We're halfway through the NHL season. It's going by pretty quickly.
It has, yeah. No, I thought this year, I don't know why I thought this year would be any different. I thought it'd be a slower year, and it has not been that at all.
It's the sort of first return to normal season too we've had in a couple of years too.
Yeah.
Even if it's going by quick, let's not add more games to the schedule, Gary. Remember that story was circulating a couple of years ago? I mean, the years,
A
like a
couple
couple of
weeks
months
ago,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like can we not? Please no, 89 games or something. We don't need that. That
No,
doesn't need to
no,
happen.
we don't need that.
I mean, it's more leads for the Canucks to possibly blow, but
Ooh,
hey,
ouch.
hey.
Is that where we're gonna start once again?
So here's the thing, Alex. I was looking here and I'm thinking to myself, I'm putting sort of the shell of the show together, and I'm thinking, okay, where do we start here? Because there's so much to talk about, but here's the problem, Alex. If we open with the Canucks, it's not just we start with the Canucks. We then have to decide which Canucks story do we want to open with. Because
Yeah.
there is so much.
We,
There is
we
actually a stupid amount.
we need like a jingle, as I think we've been naming it every episode. Today on what's happening with the Canucks, we need to gotta get a jingle or something.
So we might as well start
Okay.
with Vancouver, but this is what the whole show is going to look like. Is so we're halfway through the year. I was going to ask how do you feel, but we're kind of past that. It's happened too late. But anyway, Vancouver. I want to talk about the Blackhawks and also Seattle because they've been hot. Ovechkin hit a milestone for the season. McDavid is disgusting. I want to talk a little bit about Erik Karlsson. I want to talk about the Sens because we're not going to let them get away with losing 7-0 on Hockey Night in Canada.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
yeah, they lost 7-0. Yeah, man,
So
it was
I did
brutal.
not. I was a little caught up with some U Sport stuff, but I did not know it was 7-0.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it was bad. Yeah, no, it's not
Wow.
doing well. Some stuff that's more Canuck stuff I forgot to put in, but there's some stuff with Shannon Horvat. Um, Talking a little bit about some trade stuff, and then of course the Leafs and the Habs, and the Leafs fun game against the Bruins, the Habs, everything to do with PK Subban. There's the Leafs game that Alex went to, we can talk about. There's the Habs game I went to, we can talk about. They were both against the Predators, which was fun. We might as well start with the Canucks.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex. Oh, God. Okay. So the Vancouver Canucks continue to be a soap opera, as it feels like they are every year. So, Alex, here's just like where we are here. I just want to quickly go off with some stories before we really go a deep dive here. OEL was a healthy scratch a couple of games ago. That is, yes, 31-year-old Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who has 5 years left of the $7.85 million cap hit. JT Miller is still a highlight reel of lazy hockey. And let's never forget that his 8x8 deal kicks in next season for anyone. There's obviously still, like, we're going to recap some stuff that's already happened this season, but there's the lawsuit against Francesco Aquilini from his own kids. There's the Rachel Dory suit. Through 40 games, Alex, they have the most multi-goal blown leads all time. It's 8, by the way. Um, Jim Rutherford has been trashing Bruce Boudreau all year. We basically know for a fact now that Rick Tocchet's going to be the Canucks head coach by probably mid-February. Horvat got his low ball offer, and he was the second priority to JT Miller. The Tanner Pearson stuff, which is going to be, is it just so much, Alex? There's so much. Luke Shen's probably going back to Tampa. That was fun to
Damn
listen to,
it.
of course he is. And they're going to circle back with Bo Horvat. But anyway,
Uh,
man,
can I, before we pick a subject, because there's many of them to go to,
yeah, man.
can I just say, do you know the soap opera, The Young and the Restless? My mom watches it.
No,
Really, it's a
no.
soap opera. It's a soap opera. My mom watches it religiously.
Yeah.
If you're the writers of The Young and the Restless or whatever, the Days of Our Lives, whatever, General Hospital, I can keep the list going.
Uh-huh.
You gotta call Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvine. Like you need some inspiration, they'll give it to you.
It, it really is instead of a monster of the week type show, it really is the tragedy of the bye week for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
Man, it's so bad when you can't stay out the news on the ice, but when it's off the ice too is the tough one. How about we start with Tanner Pearson?
Yes. 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 God.
So November 9th, Tanner Pearson injures his hand. It was expected he was going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Now, this past Thursday, when all of this really started to blow up, it was announced that he would not be returning this season after what was at least his third procedure on his hand. Apparently, he may need more procedures that we should also mention. Now, I believe this was the same day that they would then later in that time lose to Tampa Bay. And the only reason I saw people say they were in that game to begin with was because Tampa were trying too hard to get Stamkos to 500 goals. Still chasing that, by the way. But anyway, after that game, Quinn Hughes was asked about Pearson. He responded saying, quote, "It wasn't handled properly." Now, this answer was edited out of the press conference the Canucks tweeted out with Quentin Hughes, which is never a good sign. Per Elliot Friedman, this was him talking last night, the PA will be stepping in early next week. So a few days, basically.
That's a first.
This is, I know, right? So, and Alex, the best part about this is all blowing up during scouting meetings, too. So it has also been announced the Canucks will be opening an internal investigation to the matter. And then on Donnie and Dolly, Rick Dollywall was talking about there are apparently infection concerns for Tanner Pearson. Concerns about this being career threatening. Again, I've mentioned this, and you've probably seen it all around Twitter, people. But he will need more procedures apparently.
I think Friedman said at least one more,
which is just, the question is, did Rick Dollywall mention this? How do you first off go from 4 to 6 weeks to career threatening? First off, I think we should say Tanner Pearson, freaking best of luck trying to get his career back on.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
And just
what do you think?
No, I'm just gonna say, to add on to what you were saying, let's add in the fact that this is all. I believe they're talking about it on the Jeff Merrick show, that this is all under a new medical staff, is the way I understand it. There's been a transition from one medical staff from last year to this one this year. So this is a really tough look on the organization, I think you have to say. So on an organization who frankly doesn't look great right now, this screams, and I'm not trying to, I'm gonna make the comparison, I don't care. This screams like the Ottawa Senators from a few years ago.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yep. Melnick saying all the wrong things.
And continually being in the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it screams like to me. And it's just a very, what I think, there's certain things where we're talking about the things on the ice I can excuse in a way. The issue I have now is we've been talking about someone's job, and now we're talking about someone's career, right? How can you look at this situation and say, they're literally I don't know who Jim Rutherford's trying to prove a point to, but he hasn't done a good enough job, or the guy he's trying to prove a point to coughed Francesco Aquilini, by the way. This is who if he's trying to prove a point, that's who it's to. Mm-hmm. He's literally trashing a coach in the media, and he's been doing it for quite some time now. And now the organization is dealing with a player who's had multiple surgeries over the last, 18 months, 2 years, at least.
Oh, it's
right?
Tanner Pearson?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's had before this year. Did he? Because I think right after his contract, he did have an injury too. I don't know his exact history. I know obviously from his days as a King, he's got some miles on his body, and this is just, losing your wrist as a hockey player. I mean, that's that Claude Giroux back a couple of years. Remember when everyone's like, he's cooked.
Yeah.
It was also been mentioned that also you talked about the transition of the medical staff, that Jason Dickinson wasn't very kind and didn't have some great words for that medical staff either. We should mention Quinn Hughes was then followed up about this. And then, when he asked, do you trust the medical staff, he said everyone's doing their best, which is just sort of, Quentin Hughes doesn't sort of speak out very often, but it seems to be when he does, you know, he's sort of like Quinn Hughes is such a funny guy when you're in the world of Twitter. Not because it's like he's not an active social media guy, but the facial reactions you always see from Vancouver Twitter about him.
No.
Um, Not to mention this is one of the cornerstones of your franchise. But you see, here's the thing: is there wouldn't the thing of Rutherford saying we hadn't heard anything about this until Quinn Hughes mentioned something. If this was just the opinion of one player, you wouldn't open a whole investigation. You'd have an internal discussion with the player, and this would be silence. You maybe give a vote of confidence to your medical team, and it's not a big deal. But having a big song and dance about an investigation, that means, Alex, there's smoke, there's fire. That's what would really worry me there.
Yeah, I'm still, I'm just a little confused on like how we got to this point.
Quentin
You know
Hughes,
what I
man.
mean? So they're opening
I
the
didn't even know this
investigation. They're
about
opening
Pearson.
they're op but they had report like Friedman had reported it, had he not, or someone had reported that Tanner Pearson now needs to get another surgery. I remember seeing that earlier this week. And then Quinn Hughes said, I think this has been handled poorly. And then we get the investigation. So it wasn't the fact that this player has had 3 surgeries this year and needs to get a 4th. It was that Quinn Hughes said something. That's what sparked the investigation. You can't tell me that's not concerning at bare minimum.
I agree with you.
Right? How weird is it that because our star player said something, that's what set us off? Not the guy needs to have 3 surgeries this year. It was the guy saying, I think like there's something wrong here. Because Quinn Hughes said something, we need to launch the investigation. I just, first off, not that I find it hard to believe. I find it very believable when it comes to this league. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
It just, no one sort of looks good here. Again, 4 to 6 weeks to career threatening. Injuries, you have setbacks.
Yeah.
I get that. But between November to now, nearly 4 procedures in that short of time. That's fishy to me, Alex. That's fishy. And man, whatever this, when are people going to ask? Is the investigation? Is the result going to be made public? That type of stuff. I doubt it will be. But okay. So we know that earlier this year, or I should say earlier this season, because it's the start of the new year, so we should be careful with that. That Horvat was offered, the captain was offered the deal. It was turned down, and it was subpar compared to the JT Miller contract. Now, it was also mentioned last night on 32 Thoughts, Hockey Night, all that kind of stuff. That right now they are not allowing Quentin Hughes not Quentin Hughes, Bo Horvat to talk to other teams. But they are going to make another run at signing him. What do you make of that?
They should have done that in the first place. Like, listen, I'm of the belief that you should re-sign Quinn Hughes. Yes, obviously you should re-sign Quinn Hughes when he comes up. Whatever, sorry. I think you should re-sign Bo Horvat. Like the thing is okay, the question comes down to what is the goal? What's the end result? For what's the direction of the organization? I don't know. I like, yes, deep down I'm like, yeah, you should re-sign Bo Horvat. The guy has 30 goals already. His career high is 31. He is already at 30 this year. Frankly, I should, like, outside of the fact that he's having a career year, I think you should have re-signed him. But now the issue I have is, what direction are you going in? If you're planning on rebuilding, sorry, Bo. First off, you shouldn't have re-signed JT Miller if that's the direction you want to go in, but you've already done that. if you want to try to compete, go ahead. But I don't know if you saw this clip. I don't remember if I retweeted it or not. But like there was Thomas Drance was talking about uh people saying that when Thatcher Demko comes back, everything's going to be okay. Like that's probably not
I
the
don't know about
case. Like,
that.
well, he's saying like his whole point was that's dumb. Like that's not the problem here.
Yeah.
Like what's the direction? And then you have your answer. If you think you're going to compete with this group of players, then yes, you re-sign Bo Horvat. But if you don't, if you're actually going to rebuild, and by rebuild, I mean trade Bo Horvat, trade Brock Besser, trade Connor Garland, and hopefully get Connor Bedard. If this team gets Connor Bedard, that shit, not that changes the fortunes of the franchise. It might, but I think it expedites things considering he was literally on a 5-point game streak, not a 5-game point or a 5-game point streak. He was scoring 5 points a game. I think he's good, right? Like,
Yeah. What is it, like 80 points in 30 games or something?
yeah, like that's the type of player you could get. And listen, I'm not an advocate for tanking. I'm just saying, like, the situation you're in.
You know what helps sort of decide the direction your franchise is going to?
What's that?
The coach. Now, Alex, I don't think a lot of people expected Bruce Boudreau to make it to January. I sure didn't. Also mentioned on 32 Thoughts, and I think Darren Dreger said it also a few days ago on TSN Radio. And people have been saying Rick Tocchet has given his 4 weeks notice to TNT. I haven't seen that official, but the stuff that has been very reported is that in a few weeks, Rick Tocchet will be the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Um, Bruce Boudreau was asked about this, and he basically said, "I'm just gonna wake up and go to work." I feel so awful for this guy. I still think this is the amount of disrespect here from everyone involved for me is quite disgusting. Um, I just don't know how you can get off sort of just everyone knows it's going to happen. So just put the poor guy out of his misery here. What's the problem with having an interim for a few weeks?
You have Mike Yeo behind
there.
the bench. Just let him. Let him throw this
Do what he
team
did
down.
last year.
Yeah, like just let him go down and let's get her done. Like, I just want to add, and I don't mean to make this about other markets, but I'm going to because I don't care. Can you imagine if Kyle Dubas or Kent Hughes came out the way Jim Rutherford? Imagine Brendan Shanahan or why can't I remember his name? Jeff Gordon talk the way Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin have about.
We're just flat out like Dom Ducharme sucks.
Yeah. Like you had Dominic Ducharme as the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens, and I don't think I heard a word from Kent Hughes or Jeff Gordon that slandered that man.
No,
the way they have. Oh man, I don't
Ducharme and both Babcock tried to slander the people above them on their way out.
Let's get
that. But 100%.
But it's crazy how this has been going on for so long, and that hasn't even been the top of the list of things to complain about. I don't know if that says more about Vancouver or the state of that organization, but
it's a lot, man.
Man, I think you're spot on. Like the disrespect. Like, listen, Bruce Boudreau is probably going to get another job. Fair. Like, you think this was career? I don't think. I think everyone knows what's going on. Like going on in Vancouver. I don't think this is going to be like a career-ending job for him. Right? Like, is that fair to say he'll probably get another job in the NHL, whether it be an assistant or a head coach?
Yeah, fair to say. People
that is the only positive outlook on all of this. There's no positives for Bruce Boudreau here. I think you're spot on. Like, this guy has been ripped and he has taken it on the chin.
I think that's enough for the Canucks for now. We will
Yes.
revisit them. Don't worry. We always do.
I hope
Actually,
he
wait,
go.
wait, one.
So I was gonna say I hope he goes on a podcast and I hope he tells the entire damn story. He won't unless he retires, then he might, but I really hope he does one day.
I think one person's like, "Is he going to write a book?" And he's like, "I'm too lazy." But that would be really good. Also reported last night, Elliot Friedman saying that Tampa Bay do have interest in bringing back Luke Shed. Talk about Victor Hedman having a down year.
Bring
Not a
him
bad
shit.
partner to bring back for him.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, I want him. Could you imagine, Alex? How would you feel if Luke Shen goes to Tampa and Bo
Yeah.
Horvat goes to Boston?
Do the Leafs get anything, or we're just
No, they miss out. This is their
on
guy.
everything?
Yeah, they miss out on everything. Timo
I'd
Meyer
actually
goes
be
to like
pissed.
Carolina.
I think this year I'd be pissed.
Would
Like,
you just say like? Would you just serve Kyle Dubas his notice of termination there and then?
I mean, yeah, if they lost in the first round, yes, I would serve him his papers personally.
They're so gonna. I hate this division. I hate it so much.
So do I.
Detroit's been weird this year though.
Yeah,
Detroit's
man.
been weird.
They waived Jacob Vrana and they just waived Alex Nedeljkovic this
Yeah,
afternoon.
that's insane. That's very crazy. Also on 32 Thoughts stuff we can mention quickly. Jeff Merrick saying Arizona are open to trading Kirill Vejmelka. I asked, how does this team ever take a step forward?
I think if they do that, they should be fined for extremely obvious tanking.
I mean,
Like this
Matt,
doesn't.
we haven't
doesn't,
talked about Chicago yet, but if anyone needs to be in Chicago right now,
Yeah, no. Yeah,
it's
but if
it
they
killing me.
trade, it's like it's like when Buffalo literally traded every single goalie who can get them a win. It's
Yeah,
is anybody watching this or is it just the fans? Like,
You think
we're
they'll
so
call back Harry Sateri?
who the Coyotes?
Yeah.
Maybe. You never know. He'd have to go through waivers first.
Oh man. I mean the oh man. Also, Elliot Friedman mentioned that Boston and David Pastrnak are making progress on the deal. Now this made me mad. He stressed to not make too much of it, but you mentioned it on Hockey Night in Canada when they were playing the Leafs. Elliot, that's you radioing yourself.
He knows what he's doing. Dude,
So, I will make a big deal of it,
yeah,
Elliot.
I will.
I will.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's gonna resign in Boston. Like he's not going to market, right? Like he's not. He's just not. He's gonna take league minimum. Remember, he said he doesn't care about the money.
Like, I was thinking about this. People don't really leave Boston. They moved on from Torrey Krug. Chara, I can't quite remember. Krejci they brought him back. He came back. Bergeron came back for the year. They move on from players. They don't, you don't leave Boston. You know what I mean? Just feels like that. And they re-signed Pavel Zacha for a bit too much money, I thought, but whatever.
That's a good point. I've never thought about it like that.
You're not allowed to leave Boston.
You just don't leave.
You're there to stay, man. Unless they don't want you, then again, Torrey Krug was like, yeah, I didn't get an offer. And it's like, you just listen. It happens, Boston, man.
It's a good point. But like, he's gonna be like, listen, he's gonna stay. Like, I'm not that I should be I'm worried that he is gonna stay, I guess would be my answer to that question. But
do NHL fans not respect David Pastrnak enough? Because I see when people are like, oh, he's gonna get $11 million, and people are like, that's too much, and I'm like, pardon me.
It is a hell of a lot of money. What? Let me just look at.
He'd be worth it.
Because
here's the thing: we always talk about the great goal scorers, and we think of Ovechkin of the past, Stamkos, Matthews. Pasternak's always up there, man. He's always up there.
Yeah, no, he has. Like, I'm just looking at. He scored at least 30 goals in 6 of his 9 years in the NHL. Now, 2020, 2021, he played 48 games. And he had 20 goals. So let's just assume he would have been on pace
100%.
for 30. You know what I mean?
He's amazing, man.
Yeah. And then it was his first 2 years when he was 18 and 19 years old when he didn't score 30 goals. You know what I mean? Like
he's good.
He's good. Yeah, no, he's worth 11. It's a lot of money, but he's definitely worth $11 million. No,
If
he's
that's what he gets.
like
No, if it's like he's asking for 11 and then they'll end up 9 or 10 million. I don't know, but
yeah. I think the thing, and
the
I'm not
cat's going
justifying
up
it.
too eventually, Alex. Remember?
Listen, I wasn't gonna bring it up. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I was gonna say like the thing with Boston is okay. Honest question: where does he sit in terms of the best players on that team? Is he the best player on that team?
I think at his age now, I think he's eclipsed Marchand. I think he
Okay,
has.
okay. Is he better
Um,
than McAvoy?
See, the position thing is different, isn't it? Well, here's the thing: is David Pastrnak a top 15 player? I think you could say so.
You can make an
Is
argument.
is McAvoy a top 15 player? I think
Yes,
you can make an argument.
he's a
Is McAvoy?
he's a top three. The McAvoy could be in the argument for top three defenseman in the
He
NHL
can
for the last
push
few years.
himself into the conversation. Like I
Correct.
think Pasternak can try and push his way in. Um, I think they're still both elite players.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult. It's difficult to say, but he's at least, I think, it's so funny to say he's a top three player on the Bruins, but it's like saying you're top three on the Avs. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
it doesn't
but
mean anything.
that's most other teams. Like, how many teams do you put David Pastrnak on and he's instantly their best player?
Let me pull up let me just pull this up. Like uh,
I feel like there's a good number
a
of them.
good chunk, a good chunk of player,
Is he
good
better than
chunk of
Patrick
teams.
Laine and Johnny Gaudreau? I'd say
Yes,
yeah. Best player
yes.
on the Blue Jackets. Is he better than Jason Robertson? I think that's a very good debate to have.
That's a great debate to have. I would probably argue yes, personally, but I could understand why you wouldn't. Like I'm looking through like he's if you plop him on almost any team in the Pacific, he's the best player barring Edmonton.
Yes. Yeah, no, I
I
think
think
that's
you
fair.
could maybe Vegas, but like I would argue he could be the best player on Vegas.
Him or I was thinking of that. I'm like him or Eichel. I think it's very close. Um,
In the central Colorado, that's it.
yeah, and you could even say is he doesn't see the same style as game as Mikko Rantanen, but I think I would argue that I would say they're the same tier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would say again different styles, but if we're just,
Okay.
I think he's good, man. I think he'll
Let
make
me
it.
okay, this is my last comparison. Sorry. Like would he be the best player on Florida? I was just thinking. I know
Ooh,
you love Sasha Barkov, so
I do love
I gotta
Sasha
ask.
Barkov. He's not the all arounder that Barkov is. Kind of like saying, is he as good as Patrice Bergeron? It's offensively, he's easily the best player on the Cats, I'd say. And I'm
Okay,
acknowledging that Kachuk's having a monster year, but all around, I think there are not many players better all around than Sasha Barkov.
for sure,
You know,
for
I'd say
sure, for
that.
sure.
But I think he's better than Huber, though.
Okay, yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah. I'd
yeah.
agree with that too.
If he was a free agent, by the way, and if you're the Calgary Flames, I mean, they need an elite scorer. Man, how good would he look as a Calgary Flame? But yeah, it's just not going to happen.
No, that'd
It's
be.
not going to happen. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would like outburden other. other no,
Unfortunate for the two of us, he will be in Boston for a while.
we don't need him. We have Cole Caulfield. Anyway, we could talk about the Habs. Um, I don't care about the Islanders game last night. I don't care because I want to spend the Habs segment talking about the game against the Nashville Predators.
Was
I
it
did
as
go to it.
boring as you can imagine as you'd expect the Islanders
The
game?
Islanders game.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much boring. It's just that the Habs weren't willing to play hockey until the third period.
So that's a
Which was tough.
rebuilding team if you if I've ever seen one.
I mean, that was
You know
a
what I
big
mean?
story for them last year. Anyway,
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Preds game that
Yeah.
here in our lovely Southern Ontario was blacked out. So lucky I went to the game. Um, a real character win for the Habs. So first off, we should mention PK Subban did mention that Jeff Molson was the one who reached out to him not long after PK retired to organize the whole night. The homecoming, as it was sort of said, when you went to the game, they gave you like the cutout cardboard face of
Oh, that's
PK,
cool.
which was pretty fun. A tremendous speech, which I think we were all expecting. Amazing coat, dressed so well,
Yeah.
by the way. Bringing out the young girl Mila, got the chant going for her too. mentions and shouts out Elise Beliveau, who couldn't be there because he knew it had to happen. The whole night, the thing around the Bell Center, we'll get to the details in a second, but
Yeah.
my God, Alex, it was perfect. It was everything I think, except for Andrei Markov not being there. I think it was everything Habs fans could have wanted for that return.
Yeah, and I think especially for a guy like PK, and like we obviously don't need to revisit the stuff before. I have my opinions on it, but we don't need to revisit
God help me if this
revisit.
podcast had started when that trade happened.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we won't. We don't need to revisit that that stuff. But like, I think it's a guy who deserved the and they were actually Friedman was talking about it. I don't remember whichever platform he was on. He was they were talking about like he didn't get really get like a goodbye. No one, everyone kind of expected him to sign with a team, and then he never ended up signing with a team. So it felt like that was the goodbye that we all expected to happen, but never really got to get to see. So I think it was a guy who definitely deserved it from a market who, like, he devoted a lot of time on and off the ice for.
He mentioned, I thought it was a really good part. Basically said to the crowd, I think we had an understanding that, and basically saying to the team there, the Montreal fans will love you as long as you leave everything on the ice, and that's what PK did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not even just, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. We got to remember his last game in a uniform as a Hab. He was stretchered off the ice. Alexei Yemelin, man, that guy loves taking out his own teammates. Oh God, 2014, and I'm ready to accept it. I'm ready to accept it. But he needed it. It was just so special the whole day seeing everything on social media around him. And the moment, Alex, when man, I can't. So his mic's sort of cut out, so you didn't really hear it. But on the jumbotron, and you see Carey Price there,
Yeah.
and they do the triple low five. Alex, I am tearing up thinking about it. It was the perfect moment. And like the thing of those two, the wallpaper of my phone is that picture of the two of them with their arms around each other.
Yeah.
The home opener at the start of this season, we got a real goodbye for Carey Price, and I think his partner in crime was PK Subban. And Markov's a different part. Again, I've said I don't think PK wins in Norris without Andrei Markov, but those two sort of in the same season getting their real goodbyes from the fans. That's special, man. That is so, so, so special. And
Yeah.
it's sad too, um, because it really feels like they were robbed of something special, that team together, and it felt like that cup run should have had PK as a part of it. But man, the triple low five was just like such fan service. I love it so much.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just didn't know it was a thing. I was oblivious at the time. Was there like controversy about that?
So
Can you
it was something
explain
that
it? I don't mean
so
to crap on the moment. I'm just curious.
yeah. No. I think it is important because I don't think a lot of people, if you weren't a Habs fan, wouldn't really understand it. Especially younger fans. I don't think we remember it. So it was a celebration the two of them had,
Yeah.
and it started as just something they just randomly started doing. And Michel Therrien didn't want them doing it, and he shut it
There we
down.
go. There we go.
So and he was asked about it apparently a couple of days ago, and basically said it was wanted to be around about the team. It's just old hockey bull crap that doesn't make any sense. It was just a fun handshake. You know how the Bruins goalies have that? I think
Yep.
have a celebration like that. It was legit just a win celebration. Remember, it was so sort of neat. It was put in one of the NHL games.
Oh,
And even
really?
in the later ones, if you had them on the same team again, they would still do the celebration.
Oh,
But
no
yeah,
way.
Therrien hated it because Michel Therrien was awful. So it was sort of like Habs Twitter all day was like, we just want to see this. And when Carey was there, it was just such a like it was justice for the fan base seeing that happen. But yeah, that's really what it was.
Okay.
Something else I want to mention about the game is I think certain players really took to heart that message. Obviously, Caulfield had a pair of goals. He loves scoring when I go to games. I love it. A 3-point night for Jonathan Drouin. Uh, Juraj Slavkovsky, I don't know if you saw this, but he had a single shift, blocked two stinger of shots. The crowd are losing it for him. Had a big hit. Had a real game where, last time we recorded wasn't very high on the way he was playing.
Mhm.
But his last few games, you've seen a real big upswing. And Arbor Jackeye, I was like, this is what OHL Jackeye must have been. The hits. I remember when I started watching that game. I don't know why I said it like that, but when I sat down and I thought, and you're seeing Jackeye do this. I remember I thought to myself, if he's gonna fight anyone, it has to be Tanner Jeannot. And
Right.
what happens? He fights
With
Tanner
Tanner
Jeannot,
Jeannot.
and it was one of the most fun games I've ever been to. That second period especially was like sweating. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Good.
Hell of a game.
Good.
Hell of a game. And it's nice that Molson was the one who reached out too. Because
Yeah.
he better apologize. You let that happen too, man. You
Yeah.
let the guy who pledged $10 million to the local goddamn children's hospital be betrayed. You let that happen, Jeff. The blame is not off of you too, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also wanted to mention Yaroslav Askarov for Nashville, who made his NHL debut. Because Alex, originally I'm like, I only recognize one of Nashville's goalies. I'm like, okay, so that's obviously UC Saros, who I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of.
Yeah.
And I see the other goalie. I'm like, who? I'm like, I was thinking to myself, who's Nashville's backup again? And I see on Twitter that the Scar I was making his debut, and I'm like, oh god, no. This is after all the grief I give Daniel about Yaroslav
Oh, man.
Askarov and my love for Spencer Knight. I thought this is going to be bad. I'm going to give my very uneducated opinion as someone who has never played the game of hockey about his play style. Hoping
Okay.
Daniel listens to this. He is a weird mix of Andre Vasilevsky and Marc-Andre Fleury, that guy.
In what way?
Because here's the thing. First off, his athleticism is amazing. Like the way the guy pulls the splits out is just like Vasil. It's incredible to watch. But like Fleury, super energetic, like a flopping fish in his crease. But he can make the most momentum shifting saves that are just great, right? And he loves putting a bit of mustard on the glove side. He loves it. But he can let in such solid, like the Jake Evans, it wasn't the Jake Evans goal. I can't remember actually if it was or not. But the one that like basically went off his arm that was god off,
Oh,
and you're like, oh god. And it was every time he made a save, it was like he didn't know where the puck was. He is a very entertaining goalie to watch, is what I noticed about Yaroslav Askarov.
I like that word,
Um,
entertaining.
yeah, he's a fun goalie to watch, but there's a lot wrong with it though. But he's got he loved playing he nearly had a dang it moment the way he was playing the
Oh,
puck. Like he
God.
was way too eager to do it. I was like, brother, calm down, brother, come on then.
It's
But
exciting
yeah,
he made his NHL debut, though.
yeah, I got to see it, and luckily he didn't win. But I was ready. I was ready for it to be a long night. Oh gosh.
Oh,
All
man.
right. The Leafs.
Okay.
How was the game that you went to against the Nashville Predators? How was that?
Yeah, it was obviously always fun to get to go to a game and watch it in person. I gotta say though, it was a little boring. That game just felt boring. Maybe I don't know why. It just felt like a boring 2-1 game. And sometimes I'm not going to complain about it because I think that's one of the things that the Leafs have not been great at in the past is winning 2-1 games. They
Yeah.
always, you know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where um they just that the way they played didn't necessarily suit a 2-1 game. And as Mark Spector would say, the playoffs are 3-2 games. So
I'm happy we were both thinking about that.
okay, yeah, it's dude, Mark Spector lives rent free in my head. I'm not afraid to admit it. But yeah,
It's also
and
Nashville.
it's also Nashville, yep. And so, but like I think for me, it was watching them play without Matthews, because obviously Matthews missed that game in the Detroit game, was really interesting. I don't think I've seen a game without Matthews in actually quite some time. So it was interesting to see, and obviously getting to see Bobby McMahon. By the way, I've been calling him Bobby McCann for like a week before this. And I had like, I was just waiting for him to score because I had a cheesy tweet, which was going to be, who needs Jared McCann when you have Bobby McCann? But it was turned out it's Bobby McMahon. So that screwed me. But it was nice to see him make his debut too. And I like what the Leafs are doing in that aspect of like, obviously you'll always have, or they'll always have Wayne Simmons, or let's say Kyle Clifford, or who else, like just name, they have a couple veterans in the AHL who you can throw in there, and they'll probably do that when the playoffs come around if someone goes down. But I enjoy what they're doing during the regular season when they're giving the younger guys minutes, right? Like they've done that there. They did that with Pontus Holmberg, and that guy's literally kept an NHL spot.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it gives you an idea. They did it when everyone was down on the back end with Hollowell and Philip Kral. So it's just a way of, I guess, evaluating what you have and what you need, I guess. But other than that, the Nashville game wasn't like, there was nothing crazy that happened. We could skip over the Detroit game.
This was my note for Detroit. Do we care? Do you have anything to say about the officials who were very much in the crosshairs of Leafs Twitter? Also, shout out Angie Nether Bencherot.
Yeah,
couldn't forget that.
Listen, you know my stance on blaming refs. I'm not particularly a fan of blaming refs. I don't do that often or ever. Like, I don't blame the refs for a Leafs loss. I've never done that.
You did have PTSD to Justin Hall's pick though a couple of days ago.
I did. Well, that was yeah, but again, like it was just annoying because of the amount of picks I've seen. Like, it's like, dude, like, are picks legal or illegal? Like, let's just make a decision. Like, that's my only thing. But like, I'm not saying that's the reason the Leafs lost that game. Listen, if they could have scored another goal, there was plenty of time left. But what I will say about the officials is this: Daryl Sutter. What do you think? Remember what Daryl Sutter said?
Man, Leafs Twitter hasn't let me forget.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I will not blame the refs for losing a game. I won't. It's just one of the things I won't do. But I will say, Daryl Sutter might have been wrong.
So last night, then we can talk about the game against the Bruins, where in just over a minute left, Boston get the lead. They win the game. This is a tweet from Crypto Bro Chris Johnson. Quote, fantastic game in Boston tonight. Another Bruins Leafs best of 7 would be something. Alex, do you agree with that? Would you like to see that happen?
Geez, it would be something. It'd be I think hockey wise, I think it'd be a great series to watch. I think it'd give me some extra stress that I don't.
We don't. I was about to say, we don't care about the hockey fan. I want to hear Leafs fans, Alex.
Yeah, it definitely produce some stress. That being said, it would be nice, like, if they're gonna make a run, I guess they're gonna have to go through their demons, as Paul McLean would say. I got demons everywhere. This would all assume they win a round, right? Which I was unaware of last night. Unless
Boston unless Tampa goes on the run and the Leafs and Bruins just sort of stagnate.
Yeah. So I'd love, it'd be an interesting series to watch at this point, because remember the last time these teams played, it was Matthews, Marner's, and Nylander's second and third year. So it's
also the was that the I just felt we should have had Patty out there here.
That was the yes. That would have been the second time they played, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Just had to plug my
because
Mac in. Sorry about that.
all good because yeah, then Babcock got fired in November when everyone was pretty much in agreement. You should have just fired him in the summer, but whatever.
Yeah,
That's besides the point. Yeah, it'd be a stressful series. I will say that for sure. That Boston game, Boston series, I'd be a cool series to watch. Definitely stressful. Like here's my argument with the playoffs, and I'm not particularly a fan of picking and choosing like, oh, we got to play this guy here, we got to play that guy here. Dude, if you're gonna win the thing, you're gonna have to go through the best teams,
I'm on
regardless.
the
Like
same
that,
page as you
like
there. Yeah.
like that. That's just the way. That's just the way it's gonna go. Like whether you play Pittsburgh, whether you play Tampa, whether you play Boston, whoever you play in the first round, you're going to have to play the best teams because for, like I understand from an experience wise, oh yeah, it's great to win around. Cool. But that means nothing if you don't win the Stanley Cup. Getting to the frankly, to me, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals doesn't mean anything. Are you winning the Stanley Cup? Yes or no?
Do,
Like it
do you?
that sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna ask if there's any if you even wanted to talk about the game itself, but it seems like the bigger message after the game was, you know, they lost to the Bruins. This is the team you're gonna have to go through to win the cup. So I
Yep.
think it just sort of goes to what you're saying anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I will. There's one thing I think over the Detroit and Boston game, I think there was a recurring theme, and obviously ever since his return, actually, he's been a recurring theme, and that's Morgan Riley. And he hasn't been fantastic, nor has Morgan Riley really ever been fantastic, to be honest. Um, can we just give him TJ Brody back? Like what? Like I know he's on IR right now, but can we just give him TJ? Like, why does this need to be like a mind game here? Like,
Timmins was a certainly a decision by Shelton.
Timmins was a tough one. I think Hall he played with like that was a tough one. Like, I understand like you're in a bit of a conundrum right now because TJ Brody is once again out. But when TJ Brody's back, can it just be Riley Brody, Giordano Hall, Sandy, and Liljegren, and then you somewhat like listen, I last year I was very hesitant of Sandy and Liljegren. I've kind of changed my mind on that pairing now. Like I think especially Liljegren more so than Sandin, but Sandin I think has shown he can take a few steps, but Liljegren I think has really solidified himself in this lineup where he's at a point where like if we're game 7 or game 5, 6, or 7, like he's in the damn lineup. Like there's no,
Yeah, yeah.
I prefer Justin Hall. No, no, no. Timothy Liljegren's in the lineup, right? Like can we just go Brody, Riley Brody, Giordano Hall, Sandine Liljegren? Like, can we just do that? Like, let's just call it a day. And then if you bring someone else in, we'll go from there. But let's give Riley TJ Brody back, okay? Like I'm done
That
with
was a reliable top pair defenseman who, now here's the thing.
I'm gonna
Leafs
lose my
never,
mind if you say Joel Edmondson or Davidson. Neither of them are reliable or top pairing defensemen.
Listen, Davidson.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
No,
Fair
right.
enough.
Yeah, right. You know, right. I'd rather play Luke Shen with Morgan Riley than either of those guys.
Listen, David Savard has one move and it always works. Have some respect. Just quick stuff because we are going a little long here. The Leafs, it does sound like the 2024 All-Star game is Toronto bound. We're gonna go to that, I would assume.
Sure. We can try.
Prices aren't complete crap.
If I don't need to just blow my bank account, yeah.
I mean, which probably means they're anyway. OV hits 30 goals. He's 84 away from Wayne Gretzky.
Wow.
Thought I mentioned that.
Wow.
McDavid clinches point per game status in game 44.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. He's at 83 points in 45 games played after last night. He will probably hit 90 by February.
I cannot forgive the Edmonton Oilers for like if they miss.
I want to say I told you so at the start of the year because I was wrong about so many other teams.
No, it's
but
okay.
if I'm right with Edmonton, I will never let that go.
How much?
Man, could you imagine McDavid setting up Cole Caulfield next year? That could be That'd be great.
Stop it. Stop it.
It'd be fantastic.
Stop it.
Um, yeah, you
Stop
got a
it.
quick note there.
On what? McDavid?
McDavid and Caulfield.
Yeah, shut
It's
up.
going to be a thing.
He'll find. Listen, Gary will not let that happen. By the way,
Listen,
Gary will not
listen.
allow Connor McDavid to be traded into, or will not allow Connor McDavid to be traded to a team in Canada. That's just
The
my
Sens
thoughts.
lost.
Yeah.
The Sens lost 7-0 to Colorado last night. Also, they lost the Twitter war between Stützle and Caulfield. Let's see when the votes are made official who won, but it better be Caulfield.
You want to have a
Um,
conversation about the Sens?
I don't think we have the time. We can save that for
Really?
next episode then,
Are
but
you
like
sure?
we need to have a conversation about the Sens eventually.
Okay, because they're
Um,
not great.
no, they're not. No, they're only like
Oh
two
my
places ahead
God.
of Montreal.
They're 4 points ahead of Montreal.
It feels like DeBrincat's an average player on that team, and it's like, how did you? I know like Norris may be coming back soon. I think someone was saying he should be, which is good for
Wednesday.
him. But yeah, but whatever. Apparently the asking price for Erik Karlsson per Edmonton Oilers broadcaster Rob Stoffer, I don't care, said the Sharks want 3 first-round picks for Erik Karlsson in the
Shame on
trade.
them. Shame,
And
shame,
if it's
shame on
true,
them.
if I'd like to hear from a bigger name. And apparently to this guy, they're willing to
Wasn't it
retain.
Saravelli who reported it?
No, Saravelli said according to reports, and then he did his
Oh, okay,
article about
okay.
why they may have credence to it. But
Oh,
no, it wasn't. It was this Bob Staffer guy.
oh
Um,
my gosh. Shame on
and
on
according
the
to
San
this
Jose
guy,
Sharks.
hold on. Again, it's according to this dude who I've never heard of. We got to be careful here, Alex. They're also apparently, according to this gentleman, willing to retain 18% of the contract. That would bring his AAV to
Oh
$9.775
my
million.
God. Shame on the San Jose Sharks. Shame,
Yeah.
shame, shame. I bring all the shame upon them for that. That's what they're asking for Jacob Chikrin.
No, remember,
Who's-
you brought up the Chicker and ask. We're done. We're done with Carlson. No, we're done. We're done.
Oh,
He's the best defenseman in the world now. He's back.
he makes
Imagine
$11
if
million.
they,
Stop.
man, imagine, yeah, but they want to go less than 10. Imagine if they get more for Erik Karlsson than the Sens did. It'd be pretty fun. Anyway,
Wait,
yeah.
it's inexcusable.
Chicago should be fined. They were down 6-1 at the end of period number 1 last night. They end up losing 8-5 to the Seattle Kraken. Alex Stalock in relief got a Bronx cheer after making a save, which was pretty bad. They sit 2 points back of Anaheim for last with 2 games in hand,
And they might not even trade Patrick Kane.
which will be very funny.
They were talking
Fine.
about him resigning and then trading him last year.
Because he's like
Next
hurt
year,
or something,
sorry.
and they
Yeah.
want to. I mean, man, who cares? Who cares? I don't care about Patrick Kane.
Okay.
The love for him is I'm done with it. I don't care. I'm gonna call out whoever acquires him. I don't want to hear it anyway. I don't think he's a good person. I think he's cooked.
You think he's cooked?
I think he's kind of cooked. He's old, man.
I don't know. Okay,
He's old.
Okay, what's the last thing? Or are we gonna?
No, there's one last thing.
Okay.
Seattle are apparently the
yes,
first
yes.
team in NHL history to sweep a road trip of 7 or more games. Wow. They were also the team that handed Boston their first regulation home loss since April 2022, shutting
Jeez.
them out 3-0. And rumor has it they're hosting, I don't know who the host is, having an outdoor game against Vegas next year or a year after.
I think it's next
Pretty
year.
jokes. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet, but yeah.
I think Friedman confirmed it. I want to
That's
say,
insane.
dude,
Poor
they have
Columbus.
they've been pretty obviously been pretty good, and this is I want to bring this guy up in particular. This is a guy we probably haven't talked about since the expansion draft, to be honest. Vince Dunn. Yeah, Vince Dunn, man. He's having himself a decent seat. Like, he has 31 points in 42 games this year.
You know
and
who could probably use Vince Dunn?
who?
Maybe the St. Louis Blitz. Maybe the
Yes,
same.
probably. They
Maybe it's
probably could. They
but
probably could. But I think
yeah,
we should talk more about Jared McCann.
yep, man. Matty Beniers too is looking good.
Actually, I actually
Yo,
want wait, I
yo,
want to talk about Martin Jones, who's 21, 5-3 and has the
Alex,
same
what's his what?
895. That is disgusting.
Just man, where is Philip Grubauer and the other dude? What's his name? The guy from
Chris
Florida.
Drieger. I think Drieger's
Yeah,
injured.
what?
Drieger's been injured. I
Still?
think
Yeah, he ever so the
yeah.
world, didn't he? Where's Grubauer?
He's playing.
Is he? What are his stats?
He's 4-7-1.
Hmm, so he's not playing a lot. Man, what
No.
happened? Also, oh God, what was it? Sprong's been amazing. I remember once I was playing NHL, one of the GM modes from the game that's
Yeah.
been the same for 6 years, and I had Sam Steele as my fourth line center, scored 30 goals as a fourth line center. Which so like Daniel Sprong, that's the standard, buddy. Picked him up in fantasy because I'm sick of Michael Bunting not producing the moment I pick him up.
You keep picking this guy up. I keep picking him up, man. I
Man,
don't
I
get
wish
you.
it was a way of tracking how many times I picked up Michael Bunting.
You and I've seen Mike pick him up a couple of times too, which is like bizarre. He's the last guy I thought Mike would pick up, but um, Michael Bunting, man, I don't know. He gets a lot of traction in the league.
Yeah, 'cause this is the way it is. It is I'm thinking of names I might pick up. Here's what's annoying because Chris Letang's not available. You can't put him on IR, and so I've just been stuck with
Yeah,
this
you
defensive
can't.
spot.
I don't
Yahoo
understand.
sucks. Yahoo sucks.
Yeah, who sucks? Yeah,
Yeah, and DeBruska's gone, so I got to fill that. It's just a tough. It's
true.
a tough
The,
situation for
maybe you should.
Cole.
Maybe you should pick up Eli Tolvanen.
I did.
Oh, you did. You picked him up.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
because I dropped Bunting and picked up Tolman,
Oh, okay. I did not see that.
who's been good
He has
as since he
been.
got claimed by waivers. Been very good.
Yeah. 5 goals in
Yeah.
8 games. My God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man, it's weird, eh? The moment he left Nashville, he's a machine. They
Yeah.
hate offense. Anyway, that's it. You want to give the
Do,
outro?
yeah, I can. We've been going for an hour. I don't know if you want to do the sends. We can do it quickly, or you want to go more time. It's up to you.
They stink. So here,
Yeah.
let me just get this up.
Yeah. Let's.
So
Yeah.
they're currently 25th. They're they're less than 500. I can't even see that the Gary Bettman's 500. Let me see if I can get their scoring up here because I just don't understand why. So Kachuk's doing
Why
good.
they're so
Stevens
loud?
being good.
Is that what you're wondering?
Just yeah, I just have some respect. Summer Pierre. I'm just looking at them and I'm like, guys, I don't care about John Luciani. Like, how's my guy Forsberg doing? Sorry, Cam Talbot. Cam Talbot's giving you a 906, guys. Come on, give him a hit. Wait, where's it? First off, actually, more importantly, how's Marc-Andre Fleury? I gotta go look this up. I just think they're a bit of a
he hasn't
joke.
played.
I
Yeah,
think they're a bit of a
no,
joke, is all.
it's
Stay in your lane, Ottawa.
yeah, dude, those guys are so loud. I hate those guys so much with a passion. They uh, they keep it's like I just don't understand what the issue is. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Coaching.
okay. Yeah,
When do we blame DJ Smith?
I think they've been blaming DJ Smith for quite some time. It's like
The fans have.
Yeah, sorry. The fans have been blaming DJ Smith for quite some time, and I just don't know. That's at this point, like I look at their roster and I say, okay, what do they need to actually improve on? Do they
Defense?
Then the question is, okay, you add Jacob Cherry. Let's assume on the high. I love how as soon as everyone was like, oh, Erik Karlsson might be available. Boom. Everyone said Ottawa. Like, yeah, he's not coming back to Ottawa for 3 first-round picks, first off. But I don't see how adding one piece like Jacob Chikrin is going to change the fortunes of the franchise. Like, I think it's a bit different in the sense of Edmonton because all they literally need to do in Edmonton is just hold the fort a little bit. They have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl who are going to outscore everyone themselves. They will outscore everyone themselves. They literally need someone to just let's take a deep breath and then let's go. And so that's
You
why
know who
like
they need?
who the
You
Senators.
you know who I think he's in the Hall of Fame now. An Olympic level defenseman who his advanced numbers always said he wasn't a positive, he wasn't a negative. He was always even. Nothing happened when he was on the ice, and that's
Who
exactly what they need. Jay Belmeister.
the Senators or the Oilers or
Both.
both?
More so
Yeah,
the
man.
Oilers.
Yeah,
They need Jay Belmeister. That's the type of
like,
player they need.
but I think he works for the Sens too because I think like prime Jay Bomeister wasn't an offensive threat,
No,
but he could move the puck well enough where it wasn't an issue. Like it wasn't like watching it's not like watching Nikita Zaitsev move the puck or Ron Hainsey on his offhand move the puck. Like it's not going to kill you, right? Like
and
it's serviceable
and that's why to replace Nikita Zaitsev, they
with
should
Dave.
pick up David Savard.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
I'll
Either
take
team.
Shane Pinto.
The God, the Oilers.
I'll even take Tyler Boucher off your hands.
The Oilers will get Joel Edmondson, and the Senators will get David Savard, and we'll make it a 3-way trade for.
And the Habs, no 4-way, and
fun.
and the Leafs will get
No.
Evgeny Dodonov.
How about no?
Why don't you want Dodonov? He's got some skill and speed.
I told you before, if they're gonna make a trade, you are going all in this year for the Leafs. That's
Dodonov.
if Dodonov if the Donovs Kyle Dubas's version of going in, they are
Yo, low key, he's been so bad as a Hab. Apparently, a Habs reporter had talked to like 6 scouts and none of them wanted.
Yeah, I saw that. That's tough. That's
like,
tough.
Ked Hughes, get to work. Don't worry.
That's tough.
Yeah,
the Senators, they had such a good summer.
The Son of Frost.
Like,
man, our champions of the off seasons have been. Remember when the Devils didn't do crap?
Yeah.
The Habs, like, barring that finals run, were a bit of a mess for most of that shortened season.
But did we give them champions of the off season?
They were mine. Or if that we went Calgary, but even that, so like Dan Vladar has become the starter in Calgary. And it's just all of our champions of the offseason have been complete.
No,
craps.
but did we ever give Montreal champions of the offseason? Like, was it?
They were our first. I think they were our first champions of the offseason.
Remind me, why did we name them champions of the offseason?
Because they brought in Josh Anderson, they brought in Jake Allen, they brought in Tyler Toffoli.
Correct.
They had a really good offseason.
They did. We should continue.
Jake Allen was big.
We should continue naming champions of the offseason. I enjoy.
I mean,
that.
if I get another finals appearance out of it, okay.
I enjoy the doom and gloom of what we've created.
Yeah, man.
I will say that we've been pretty spot on about our dumpster fires, to be honest.
Who did we say? The Sharks? Yeah.
The Ducks.
Anaheim were just confusing. They still confuse me.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah, it was a given. But you see, the funny thing about the Chicago Blackhawks is it wasn't even it was a mix of on and off ice stuff.
Yeah, it was.
And they're
because we're not going to talk about it, okay, Adam? We're not.
Yeah, I can't wait for Patrick Kane to be a Leaf and no one in Hockey Night ever acknowledges the Kyle Pete stuff. It's just going to be. I love it. I love it.
Very interesting. He has not actually been linked. Has he? I haven't seen one person. I saw Mike sent me one Puck Empire post that said the Rangers and the Oilers were interested.
I thought Friedman said that apparently Kane and Matthews do want to play together, but that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, they said the same thing about McDavid and Matthews. And
I'm just saying, it's like, you know how much I love the fact that they were so quiet about the World Juniors on that broadcast.
The Sportsnet broadcast?
Yeah, but then
let's be real why they were quiet about the broadcast.
But then all of a sudden once Canada this year won gold, they were like, oh, Connor Bedard, oh my god, but we can't talk about. I'm just saying that I just think that you know what I'm trying to say.
I do, but they didn't talk about them during the broadcast because they didn't have the rights. right?
So
Like
no,
they
no.
didn't have
What
the.
I don't mean. I mean the World Junior, the 2018 team,
Oh, I
and
sorry.
the
Yes, yes,
allegation. No,
yes, yes,
I
yes.
don't mean
Sorry.
that. I
I'm
don't mean
like,
that. No,
okay,
no.
yeah. I'm like, that's why they
Yeah, no,
didn't
no.
talk.
Yeah. Freeman said swore he would do more, so he just doesn't acknowledge Mitchell Miller anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, Pat Kane though. Great. Yeah, even though can't wait. Imagine if it's like if he is a Leaf and Adam Wild's like this is great, and then just be like, can we send him that Duncan segment once? Anyway,
We should.
I hate how hypocritical Canadian media can be.
I
Um,
know.
anyway, that's it.
You want me to do the outro?
Yeah,
All right. Give me 1 second. So thanks for listening to
one
another
Mississippi.
episode. No, no, I got this. I
Mhm.
got this. Don't worry. Thanks for listening to another episode, the Two on
Yep,
One podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe on whichever platform you're listening to. If you
it's a
can leave
hockey
us,
podcast.
it's a hockey podcast. If you can leave a
Never forget.
review, leave a review. 5 stars would be appreciated. I mean, if you want
Alex,
to, yeah.
do you remember when we made the same sequence in that year two assignment and you got like 20% grade better than me, even though we used the same footage? And that was the early days when we were like, it's a
Was it?
hockey podcast.
But we
The
had different
sequence.
TAs, didn't we?
It's just we use the same footage. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Check
I
out the
don't even.
TikTok.
Yeah, check us out we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Man, Twitter sucks.
Will we see them on Wednesday?
Fucking,
The wonderful
um,
fans.
can I? Let's see. Let me double check something
Okay.
because I got my new schedule. Wednesdays.
This Wednesday, yes.
I may have something at 6 to 9 every Wednesday.
Oh boy.
Um,
We'll fix that.
so
We'll fix the schedule.
we'll
Potential.
fix it.
No, not yours. We'll fix
I
our
am free.
schedule, not your
Okay,
schedule,
I
our
was about to
schedule.
say like I can't change that. I wish I had that power, but
No, no.
I
That's
don't
my
even have the
last.
power to get lower tuition when school's online. Remember? Oh God, okay. That's enough. Man, our school sucks. Okay, bye.